Welcome to the Chrisman Commentary Daily Mortgage News Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Chrisman. Topics on today's episode include: are builders in a tight spot? My interview with Flow-Fi's Sydney Barber on how dynamic AI is built into its point of sale to automate tasks like document handling and income verification, and what kind of market movement we're seeing in the most liquid mortgage-backed security coupons. Today's podcast is brought to you by Flow-Fi, an industry-leading point-of-sale platform. With Flow-Fi's new dynamic AI feature, lenders can modify applications with no coding required and rely on AI to autofill key application fields, allowing borrowers to fill out only a few fields relevant to their needs. The result? Faster completions, fewer drop-offs, and smoother approvals. Discover smarter lending at flowify.com or visit Flow-Fi in person at MBA Annual. I was gambling in Las Vegas. I took a little risk. Send lawyers guns and money. Dad, get me out of this. Hopefully no one heading to Las Vegas tomorrow or this weekend runs into that kind of trouble. Did you know the difference between an American roulette wheel and a European wheel? The American version has double zeros. Fans of Lucifer and numerology know that for both, the numbers add up to 666. Homeowners in Las Vegas are not typically big gamblers unless you consider their housing values, which historically are subject to big swings. Home prices in southern Nevada have edged slightly lower in the last year as the number of properties on the market continue to climb, signaling a cooling but stabilizing housing market. Las Vegas has its share of commercial buildings. Do the office markets and residential markets correlate? Well, in Chicago, Walgreens is closing its old post office location, and in New Orleans, 2 landmark skyscrapers are in default. In New York, a building was just purchased for $25 million for conversion to residential. Nothing is constant but change. The news out this week is that D.R. Horton is acquiring SK Builders. So, yes, the nation's largest builder is expanding its presence in the fast-growing South Carolina markets. Despite what President Trump has to say about builders stepping up their game, the question those of us in the business are asking is, are home builders really stalling, or are high rates to blame? For years, people have pointed out inventory issues, but those seem to be behind us. In the first quarter of this year, unsold home inventory peaked at 507,000, the highest since October of 2007. As of July 2025, there were 121,000 completed single-family homes sitting unsold in the U.S., which is a 20% increase from 2024 and the most since 2009. By August, there was an inventory of 490,000 new homes for sale. That means inventory is available. New homes are waiting to be purchased, but they sit unoccupied. According to some housing analysts, the president should set his sights on interest rates or lenders. Interest rates, not the fault of lenders, are simply too high for some potential buyers right now, leaving thousands of homes unsold. Zillow speculates the country is 4.7 million units short in its July 2025 analysis, while the National Association of Realtors estimates a 5.5 million unit shortage. So, if there are over 100,000 finished homes waiting to be sold, how and why is the country millions of homes short? Few disagree that we've seen years of underbuilding. With 70 million millennials potentially searching, the U.S. has not built enough homes to keep up with population growth or the high demand from millennials entering their prime home buying years. Some unsold homes sitting vacant are in areas with little demand or declining populations, making them difficult for owners or builders to sell. But there are other things going on. Remember when investors soaked up the foreclosure tidal wave of 2011? Investors purchased a significant portion of available homes, especially from builders, removing them from the market for individual buyers and creating a shortage. These purchases reached record highs earlier in 2025 when data shows that investors bought approximately 30% of single-family homes, both new and existing, on the market. Once investors buy these homes, often directly from builders, they rent them out rather than making them available for the public to buy. Not only that, but the rising cost of construction materials, labor, and financing results in elevated home prices, many of which buyers find unaffordable. The bottom line is yes, there is some unsold inventory, but America still needs more affordable homes. A flood of new supply from homebuilders would theoretically help lower prices, all else equal. The question is whether these companies can do that profitably and what the federal government can do to help. By urging major housing financiers, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, to pressure big home builders, President Trump aims to kick the housing market into gear. How can Fannie and Freddie exert pressure? The Federal Housing Finance Agency, or FHFA, an independent government agency that supervises GSEs like Fannie and Freddie to ensure a fair U.S. housing finance system, will likely turn to their affordable housing goals to jumpstart building. The industry knows that the FHFA creates goals for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to provide affordable housing by purchasing mortgages for minority and low-income borrowers and by renting to low-income families. The goals, updated every 3 years by FHFA, help ensure the GSEs to focus on underserved markets. When a GSE meets its affordable housing goals, it can access better financing terms. This provides more incentive for the lender to finance even more affordable housing. Pushing Fannie and Freddie to pressure homebuilders may involve FHFA policy changes, which can come in many forms. By encouraging affordable housing and adjusting housing goal benchmarks and adjusting goals, FHFA can push the GSEs to purchase more loans for affordable properties and new construction. Adoption of different credit score models, like VantageScore, expands credit access to a wider group of potential buyers. Additionally, FHFA can streamline the application process for developers to receive Federal Home Loan Bank and other GSE under FHFA funds for affordable housing projects. FHFA can support the financing of manufactured homes, an important source of affordable housing. This includes the purchase of construction to permanent loans that cover the cost of new manufactured homes, land, and installation. However, many housing industry experts don't see the lack of newly built homes as a supply problem. Rather, it's a zoning and permit issue, and there isn't much GSEs can do about that since that is a local issue. According to the National Association of Home Builders, government regulations at all levels accounted for almost 24% of the final price of a new single-family home and 40% of the cost of a multifamily home in 2021. A 2022 survey also revealed that 83% of developers facing project delays cited permitting issues as the reason. In most cases, however, zoning laws and building codes exist for good reasons: to manage traffic, protect the environment, and prevent overcrowding. But some laws and regulations are so outdated that reform is likely the only way to resolve the crisis and accelerate development. As the debate between home builders and policymakers rages on, one thing is clear: housing prices are sky high and the pressure is on to increase the nation's housing supply. Between high list prices, high mortgage prices, even if they did drop this month, and how debt-ridden consumers are, there's not much incentive for people to buy a home these days, which means there's not much room for home builders to profit. For today's interview, I want to welcome onto the show Flowify Sydney Barber to talk about how dynamic AI is built into its point of sale to automate tasks like document handling and income verification, speeding up approvals, improving compliance, and enhancing borrower experience while freeing lenders to focus on relationships. She's head of product at Flowify, joining the company in 2019 as a project manager and quickly rising to lead product development for the company's popular point-of-sale platform. Her product expertise and commitment to continual improvement have driven dozens of innovations that benefit both borrowers and lenders, and under her leadership, Flowify rolled out Flowify Verify in 2024, a streamlined solution for income and employment verification. And earlier this year, her team launched Dynamic Apps, a no-code feature that allows lenders to tailor loan applications by type, supporting non-QM, construction loans, HELOCs, and more. Everybody's talking AI. How do I incorporate it into my processes? How do I maximize its use? What's hype versus reality? All those things. I saw recently that Flowify decided to embed AI directly into its platform rather than bolting on a chatbot or acquiring a trendy tool. Why?
Most of the chatbot style solutions kind of miss the mark a little bit. Myself, and I think a lot of other borrowers like me, don't want to talk to another AI assistant when they're making one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. And we've done a lot of research at our product team here at Flowify, and we've learned that what borrowers are looking for is they want trusted guidance during this time from a real lending team, a real person. So the way we've chosen to implement AI at Flowify is a little different. So we're integrating AI where it's actually saving time and reducing friction that both the borrowers and the lending teams experience. So by putting it into the point of sale, we're automating some of the repetitive tasks that happen on every loan. So things like document cleanup, So, for example, splitting a document, combining a bunch of iPhone pics into one PDF, renaming them into something that's more LOS friendly, those sorts of things. We're also comparing and validating uploads. We're also calculating income and DTI behind the scenes. We're running the AUS steps. So anything that is really those menial tasks that lending teams are having to do to give them more time to focus on what really matters, which is building relationships with borrowers, advising homeowners, and really boosting retention for that next refi cycle.
Yeah, you mentioned the term behind the scenes, which I think is really valuable in a lot of ways. There's so much work that gets done that doesn't meet the eye, but it solves all the needs of companies out there, borrowers out there. This dynamic AI, I mean, a lot of the people I talk to, they use these buzzword heavy tools, and it's kind of ubiquitous throughout the industry. But I guess you've named yours dynamic AI. What makes it different?
Yeah, so again, it's not about that, flashy chat bot, basically, having a borrower just talk to Chat GPT. It's more about delivering the tangible value. And it's also about putting it inside of a tried and true application and approval process, which is Flowify. We've been around for years. So what it's doing, it's adapting workflows in real time based on loan purpose. So for example, purchase, refi, HELOC, non-QM, etc. It's also automating those manual time-consuming processes, like I mentioned, like the 1003 completion, document cleanup, employment and asset verification, income calculations, and then it's also configurable without code. So lenders are going to be able to jump in and adjust workflows quickly without waiting on an engineering team, either on the Flowify side or in their within their organization. And then there's also compliance built in. So it's features like automatic demographic suppression when it's required. So it's not AI for AI's sake. It's AI that actually automates tasks that are taking up all of the time for every loan, and it's clearing a path for faster approvals. It's also making the borrower experience a lot more clear and quick.
Well, this phrase has come about recently, and that's embedded AI. And it seems like what companies are going for. It seems like what Flowify's done here. In your case, the AI is embedded into the POS versus a lot of companies can layer AI on top of a LOS or other system. What's the benefit to borrowers of this embedded nature?
Yeah, so good question. The POS, as you know, is the borrower's first touch point, and we also want it to be the only touch point in best case scenarios. So it's where trust and confidence are being established. And so by embedding AI directly into the point of sale, Flowify is ensuring that the borrower experience is seamless from the start. That's the reason that you have a point of sale in the first place. So, and for borrowers, instead of juggling a bunch of different portals, a bunch of different requests from different systems, extra logins, they're just getting that fast, intuitive process, while the heavy lifting is just kind of happening behind the scenes. So, for example, borrowers can jump into the point of sale and upload documents and answer just a few questions in just, 5 minutes. And then they're going to be able to walk away with a pre-approval letter ready for their weekend home tours. So AI is not replacing the relationship between borrowers and lenders, but it is allowing lenders to spend more time with the borrowers, and allowing them to enjoy speed and clarity.
And I don't want to belabor this point too much, but these bolt-on solutions that a lot of companies use, there's risks associated with them. Uh, Maybe companies feel like they're being innovative when they buy them, or I'm not sure what. But can you talk about some of the risks of bolt-on solutions out there?
I feel like when lenders adopt bolt-on strategies or recently acquired AI startups, they're going to inherit a few things. So, one of those is patchwork integrations. I call them Frankenstein workflows. Also, they're going to have borrower frustration because, again, there's those repeated uploads, inconsistent portals. And then a big one is that these tools are going to often be early in their machine learning journey. As you probably know, it takes years to truly build out an AI solution. And so with years of training before they actually achieve mortgage grade accuracy. And so I think that's a really important point to make. But Flowify does take a different approach. Our dynamic AI is built into a proven point of sale platform. So again, it already connects with all of the big integrations. So the LOS, the CRM, the product and pricing, the automated underwriting system, the verification tools like VOIE, VOA, the credit bureaus, all of the integrations that we all know and love in the mortgage industry. And then on the back end, we're partnering with a really established mortgage AI system that has been perfecting its models for over a decade now, so that we can say that we have 99.9% accuracy in income calculation today and not years from now.
Dynamic AI, efficiency, compliance, borrower experience, all these things are they sound great. But what tangible results can lenders really expect?
Yeah, so I'll start with what you said, efficiency. So what does that mean? It's automated document handling and income verification that saves lending teams hours of manual work on every single loan. Speaking to the speed part, so borrowers can complete their apps faster by autofilling fields in the application. Drop-offs are going to decrease and pre-approvals are going to be issued in minutes. When it comes to compliance, we keep talking about compliance. That's context-aware workflows, which strengthen compliance automatically with no manual intervention. For example, HELOCs, we can turn off demographics automatically. There's going to be a better experience for borrowers. So borrowers will enjoy a smooth, transparent process with fewer hurdles. And then lenders are going to be able to spend more time on relationship building instead of the admin work, the math, the doc cleanup, etc. And then last but not least, we talk about scalability. So with these higher pull-through rates that we're talking about, there's going to be more efficient operations. And then lenders can spend time growing their portfolios sustainably. So in short, dynamic AI turns the point of sale into a fast, smart, more human borrower experience.
Next week at MBA Annual, I know your team's going to be there. Any teasers you can give us or encouragement for people to come by your booth at the Fontainebleau and check y'all out?
Yeah, so we are going to be demoing dynamic AI in full force at MBA Annual. We're also in the tech showcase at the Fontainebleau on Monday, October 20th at approximately 3:25 p.m. I believe it's an hour of demo, so try to get there early so that you don't miss it.
Well, Sydney, I really enjoyed this. I'm going to come by the booth and see y'all, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited about all the things coming out of Flowify, so thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me.
After President Trump threatened to impose another round of tariffs in recent days, volatility has prevailed, which is not something capital market folks like. The 30-year bond fell to its lowest level since April, while the 10-year yield approached but stopped just above its low from September as it rejected the 4% level for the second straight day. The yield curve flattened a bit, and swap spreads were mostly tighter. Mortgage-backed securities saw small price declines, especially in 5% to 6% coupons, and spreads widened slightly. The Empire State Manufacturing Survey rose in October when it was expected to remain in contractionary territory. Today's jobless claims, PPI, retail sales, and business inventories are all expected to be delayed due to the partial government shutdown. That leaves Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing, which kicked off today's economic calendar, and the NAHB Housing Market Index due out later this morning. Treasury then announces the auction sizes for reopened 20-year bonds and 5-year tips before conducting a buyback in 7-year to 10-year coupons for up to $4 billion. The afternoon includes Freddie Mac's primary mortgage market survey and a laundry list of Fed appearances with at least 7 scheduled Fed speakers. We begin the day with agency MBS prices unchanged from Wednesday's close, the 2-year yielding 3.49 and the 10-year yielding 4.03 after closing yesterday at 4.05%. Let's wrap up with a joke and some housekeeping. I once told a bad joke about a ghost. It still haunts me to this day. Thanks again to today's podcast sponsor, Flowify. With its new dynamic AI feature, Flowify delivers smarter, faster digital mortgage experiences that lenders can tailor to each loan type. Learn how to reduce friction, boost compliance, and close loans with more confidence at flowify.com or visit Flowify at MBA Annual. And don't miss them at the Tech Showcase at the Fountain Blue on Monday, October 20th at 3:25 in the afternoon.